Hi, my name is Phillip Warrick, and welcome to my first deal, which ultimately led to millions. In this podcast, we explore the pivotal first deals in real estate and business that define what type of investor and business owner you are and become. So whether it was a deal that inspired you the most or a challenging one from which you learned valuable lessons, each story is unique. We interview very successful investors, local real estate groups, business moguls, authors, and celebrities from all over the world, providing inspiration and insight, whether you're a seasoned professional or you're just starting out. Today, we've got a very special guest, Joe Foster. Joe Foster is the founder of Reebok, somebody I've gotten the pleasure to get to know and hang out with and meet with, and obviously read his book and got an autographed copy of his book when we met several times here. And I want to introduce you guys and let you guys hear from Joe. So, Joe Foster, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm okay, Philip. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing great. It's been a while since we've seen each other. I remember hanging out with you in London where you signed autographed copy of the Shoemaker book for me, and got to meet you and your wonderful wife and take a tour of F1 racing facilities. So it's great to see you again. Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, nice to meet you again. It is indeed. Yes. Fantastic. So where are you?
So I'm here from Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. I've been there.
Yes, sir.
Been to the Astrodome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you at today?
Unfortunately, we just come back to the UK from Spain. It was very nice and warm in Spain, but here we are now at 11 degrees. That's about 52 degrees Fahrenheit. It's cold. So apart from that, we're back in the UK and we're okay.
Well, here we finally got the fall weather. So the Houston fall weather is here. So
Houston's nice. I know. We used to go there in January, and it was a good relief because most of the time we were in Chicago with the NSGA show, but it moved down to the Astrodome every 4 years. So that was a very pleasant move.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, hey, thanks again for being here. And, I just wanted to kind of let you share about your story and your journey from, being a co-founder and founder of Reebok and, all the way back to, from your grandparents and your parents' day and that kind of stuff. And so we know that every brand, every great brand has a unique story. So what inspired you to start Reebok? And what were some of those defining moments in your journey?
Well, of course, if you want to go back to my grandfather, I suppose my grandfather was probably the biggest inspiration in many ways, because he set up J.W. Foster's in 1895, and that's a long time ago. But he invented the spike running shoe, and he knew something about influencing. He probably didn't know the word, but he would give his shoes to good athletes, top athletes, and by 1902 he had 3 world records. And in the 1920s he supplied the athletes Eric Liddell and Harold Abrahams, who both won gold medals 100 years ago at the Paris Olympics in 1924. Abrahams won the 100 meters and Liddell won the 400 meters. And they were immortalized in that film Chariots of Fire. So that's my grandfather, which I think is amazing for those days. However, he died in 1933, but it was 15 months before I was born. And I was born on his birthday, which means that my grandmother insisted I have his name. So he was called Joseph William. I am called Joseph William. And that was great. 4 years after I was born, we had World War II. And that shut everything down for 5 years. By the time that was over, I was 10. And we got some education then, because all the teachers came back from being at war, and we got some education. I went to college and came out at 17 to join the family business. My grandfather's family business was then in the hands of my father and my uncle. Unfortunately, they were at war with each other. And I don't know why, but they just didn't speak. And if they did speak, it was not nice. It was not nice at all. So they just fought. my brother and myself, we didn't think too much about this because we were probably more interested in what you do as teenagers. You go out, you meet the girls, you do whatever and enjoy life. But at 18, we were both, my brother was older than me, but we both went to international service at the same time. So he did 2 years in the Army, I did 2 years in the RAF, and you learn a lot. You learn how to be self-sufficient. When we came out, we came back to a failing company. We could see it then. We could see it was failing. I'm 20 and Jeff is 22, and we're thinking, well, this is not too good. It took us a while to sort of get through this, and I would say to my father, we've got to make a change. We've got to do something different. And all he could say is, look, Joe, when I'm gone and your uncle's gone, this company can be yours. Do what you like with it. Of course. And I said, well, Dad, we really don't want you to go. That's not the plan. But this company will be gone long before you are. Made no difference. They just kept on doing the same old thing. And eventually, Jeff and myself, we decided in the evenings to go to college to learn a little bit more about shoemaking. But what we did learn was really we had friends. We had people to call on, because when we left the family business, and if we wanted a machine, if we wanted materials, we didn't know where to get it, we went to the college and we asked. And we got all the information we need. So going to college was really good for that. We learned a bit more about shoemaking, how to make leather. We learned all that. But really what we did is we picked up a good information service. Anything we wanted, we would go to them. So then this is 1950.
And you learned how to get along. I was going to say, you guys learned how to get along well, right? Your brother and yourself.
Oh, well, we'd seen my father and uncle, and we knew if we were going to leave, we needed to work together. My father and uncle were about 5 years in between. They were quite a big distance in between their ages. Brother and myself, just 2 years. So we were quite close, and we did a lot of things together. But what we did decide on, Jeff loved the factory. He loved being in the factory, loved making shoes. And I wasn't quite so enamored with making shoes. That wasn't my forte at all. So we came to an arrangement. Jeff would look after the factory. I would do everything else, which was the sales, the marketing. I did a lot of designing as well. So we were quite individual in what we were doing, but we worked together, which was good. So that's what happened in 1958. And we're doing nicely. In fact, our accountant thought we were doing very well. Right. And he said, you're doing so well, you'd better register your name, because we'd set up our company as Mercury Sports Footwear. And we had the running man, the winged messenger. That was our logo, the winged messenger. And we thought we had it done. Good name, brilliant logo. But when the accountant said, you better register that, why? We were young. Why? And of course, he told us exactly, if somebody else starts making the same shoes using that name, you'll be in trouble as to who owns it. So we got a patent agent, went to the patent agent, and he searched out the name and said, sorry, somebody else has it already registered. And that was British Shoe Corporation, who were a massive company, British Shoe Corporation. They offered it to us for £1,000. And that doesn't sound much today, does it? About $1,200. It doesn't sound much at all. But we just put our factory together for £250. So £1,000 was way out of our budget. We just did not have it. And the bank wouldn't lend us that money. We were just a small company. We didn't have collateral. We had nothing to give them. So the patent agent said, okay, then bring me, you got to find a new name. He said, don't bring me one, bring me 10. And that was like, what? How do you think of 10 names? And I'm saying, but, we have to be in love. We have to be in love with this because it's our business. How do you do that? Anyway, we sit down, how about Falcon Sports or Cougar Sports? So we were going down the wild animal and sort of the birds and we're bringing up these names. Let me take you back to 1943, in the middle of World War II. And like COVID, nobody could go anywhere. Always stayed up, and there were no lights on, nothing. We couldn't do anything. But we did have local events. And we had a local running event, and I was entered into a 60-yard race. I was only 8 years old, but I won the race. I did have an advantage. I had my grandfather's spike shoes, and they were an advantage on the cinder track. But however, I won the race, and I go up to collect my prize. And of course, what did I get? You probably know, a dictionary. It was a dictionary, and it was an American dictionary, a Webster's American dictionary. And when you think about it, some of the spellings are a little bit different than English. So whilst it would have been useful, but we didn't have an education, so I had a dictionary. And I'm looking for the football. Where's the football? No, let's play football. Anyway, so I get a dictionary, and now I fast forward now to 1960 when we're looking for a new name. And I have my dictionary. I open it because I like the letter R. Don't ask me why. I just like the letter R. And I open it at R, and I start thumbing through. Very soon I come across REEBOK. What is that? Oh, it's a small South African gazelle. We're a running company. Gazelle. That's it. Top of the list. Wow. And I took all 10 names to the agent and said, look, we want this. Reebok. He had before that pointed out through his window, it was a nice day in May, he pointed out, who did he point out? I have my assistant who remembers everything I don't remember.
I need one of those.
That was Kodak. Well, it's Julie. You've met Julie. Yeah?
Julie, yes, I have. Yes. Hi, Julie.
It was Kodak. And I was saying, well, what's with Kodak? And he said, well, they made the name up. So there's no problem when you come to register it. But all your names are names of different things, and we'll have to put them through the register. 2 weeks later, he came back and said, Joe, you got your wish. You've got Reebok. Just one caveat. If anybody makes shoes out of Reebok skin, you can't stop them. And Jeff and I looked at each other and said, that'll never happen. That'll never happen. No, that's it. Never happen. However, so we got that registered, but the registrar, he had one caveat, and he said, because there's an animal there, we'll put you in the B section of the register.
Okay.
I mean, up to a couple of months earlier, we didn't even know there was a register. So now we're in the B section of the register. That's fine. 10 years later, the registrar came back to say he'd moved us to the A section of the register because everybody now knows that Reebok is a sports shoe.
Yes. And Reebok became a cultural icon. Oh my goodness. So what did you guys do to stay ahead of trends and keep the brand relevant over the years?
Well, I think the first thing that happened, we left the family business with very little money. So we had to look first for what we call white space. White space, because Adidas at that time had come across from Germany, and they'd taken our soccer market. So what we had to do is we had to find somewhere to go, white spaces that was different, and we could be there. And the biggest white space we got was when we got into America, which took me 11 years. But when we got in there, we found aerobics. And we pivoted to being a woman's company from being a small running company. And that pivoting took us from a 9 million to a 900 million business in 4 years. Wow. So that's where we took off. And it was looking for white space, somewhere where we could be, where we're not competing that much. We had it to ourselves.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm in the real estate space, and we buy and sell real estate and invest in real estate properties and help our investors and people that work with us to earn passive income, right? And most of my audience are real estate investors and entrepreneurs alike. And so how important was it to do celebrities and celebrity branding? And who was your first biggest celebrity at Reebok?
Well, I guess whilst she wasn't really at Reebok, Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda.
Who actually bought a pair of aerobic shoes and used them in her videos. I mean, that was big. But In fact, that took us off as far as aerobics. We really exploded with that. But we had a lot. We had Sigourney Weaver. We had quite a lot of the Hollywood. We turned to Hollywood as well as sport. Nike stayed with sport, but we turned to Hollywood, and we turned to singers. So anyway, we realized that influencers, that was the main thing. Get the influencer out there, get associated with your product, and the rest is history.
The rest is history, and congratulations on all your success. And Reebok is still a global brand, which speaks volumes to you and your brother and your family for starting that. And thanks again for being on the show. We'll have to have you again. In parting, is there any special philanthropies or things that you're passionate about that I could share with my audience for you to help support your mission and your cause?
I think the best thing that you can have in life is to have fun.
Have fun.
I think make sure that whatever you're doing, you're having fun, because otherwise it's difficult. But have fun, and whatever business you're in, you will be successful. But have fun.
I love it. We'll choose to make it fun and easy. Make it a great day. Thanks again, Jeff.
Yep. Thank you very much, Philip.